You're listening to season 16 of the Virtual Tailgate, a media bullcrap production covering college football in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm Andrew.
I'm David.
I'm Jeff.
I'm drunk.
Great way to start the new season. Be sure to join the tailgate on Facebook at Virtual Tailgate or email us at virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
All right, so it's a new season. I have to say that there was just about a week or so ago, I had a birthday and got quite an interesting text from one of the members of this podcasting group about you'll know pretty quickly who it wasn't. You can guess who it might have been. About a certain person who apparently sold his soul so that he would continue to look good like myself, while a painting ended up deteriorating. So I wasn't quite sure how to take that, whether it was a compliment or an insult or just something that I was supposed to just take as some crazy literature stuff that I don't know anything about. But what did I do after that? I did what I always do. I took my boots out. I put my left foot in my left boot and my right foot in my right boot, and I stood up and I got myself into walking into a more confident feel, looking confident, walking taller. Didn't want to act so too bougie about this stuff though. I mean the Tacovas are pretty nice boots, but they can get a little bougie if you don't watch it. Some people might think that you're a little bit a little too high on your horse, but Tacovas work boots, looking confident, walking taller, and but don't be too bougie about them.
Jeff, please, anything I ever tell you, please do not ever take it as a compliment, okay?
Oof. Oof, oof.
All right. Well, we're starting the season off right, and this is pretty much when our confidence peaks is before the games even start. When all of us know absolutely nothing about the teams and the teams have not even hit the field yet. But we're, as we always do, drop in the first episode of the season. We start with our preseason awards that we're gonna jump into. So let's go ahead and fire it off with the one that all of us are looking forward to. Offensive Player of the Year. Andrew, you want to lead us off?
Yes, obviously, you know, top offensive player of the year for this season is going to be Duke's own Darian Mensah. Wait, oh, sorry, I wasn't keeping up with all the court battles there. It does appear that Darian Mensah is now on Miami, and Miami might actually really be back this year. But yeah, with number one with a bullet, Darian Mensah, I'm going to throw it over to David to tell me why the guy who catches the balls is better than the guy who throws the balls to him.
Well, I was gonna say pack it in, boys. It's over on Offensive Player of the Year. Darian Mensah may have already locked up the award, but in the off chance that voters are considering generous or that we see some records broken this season, as is possible, Malachi Tony will be on the receiving end of an awful lot of those touchdown strikes from Darian Mensah, and he has the potential with this new quarterback in a system that he's familiar with to build on a monster freshman campaign a year ago. It is possible that Malachi Tony puts up the kind of numbers that nudge him ahead in the end. So I'm going to give him my Offensive Player of the Year, though I do think Darian Mensah is the more likely candidate.
All right. Well, Jared, do you have anybody from Miami on your Offensive Player of the Year?
You know, I was really tempted to. I mean, the U is just so great. They're so awesome, such an awesome team. They've won so many ACC titles in football. Wait a minute, but yet they play in the college football championship game? Huh. Anyway, my guy is not from Miami. He's not from the U, but he's familiar, I guess, with how to play against the U because, yeah, he's in the ACC. But my guy is JKS, Jerron Kuehwe Sekapaluteli. I butchered that name.
That's why he calls him JKS.
Yeah, I think that I totally agree. In the Wikipedia page says that he is nicknamed JKS, but he had a very strong freshman.
Just Wikipedia. Everyone says he's nicknamed JKS.
Yes, yes.
That's his name.
Oh my God. He had a good freshman year. Different coaches coming in. The rumor is that he's been looking really good in this new system that under the coach of oh God, Tosh Lepoy. We're gonna go with that. Um, Visited him in Hawaii. Again, going through from the Wikipedia page of JKS. Uh, Cited sources, of course. We were very factual here on the Virtual Tailgate. But the rumor is he's got a lot of good momentum going in practice. It seems to be a lot of hype for the sophomore quarterback. He had a good numbers last year on a mid team. Just a dark horse consideration. Something to keep in mind. Is he going to probably win? Probably not. But he is one of those guys I really say keep an ear and an eye, ear down on the ground and an eye on him. JKS, don't be surprised if he becomes a star.
All right. Well, for my offensive player of the year, I'm going to of all places for the ACC, why not head to Texas, right? For my ACC preseason offensive player of the year, actually going to go with a Cal transfer, Kendrick Raphael. He's a Cal transfer, amassed nearly 1,200 yards from scrimmage and 14 touchdowns last year on a very surprising Cal team that included, as Jared, the aforementioned JKS at quarterback. Now transfers this year to play with Kevin Jennings and that SMU Mustangs high-powered offense. Now a lot of people are saying that Kevin Jennings is the obvious pick here, and the quarterbacks do typically get the benefit of the doubt and get more of the votes when they're on a high-powered offense. So it is hard for the running back to break through, but I'm going out on a little bit of a limb here that if that SMU offense can replicate what they did and Kendrick can replicate what he did on a very surprising Cal team at that SMU team, with that SMU team this year, there's no reason to think that he can't make him put himself right in the mix of things. 14 touchdowns last year on a Cal team, very impressive. Numbers like that, more yardage could certainly put him in the mix. Um, but so that's our offensive player of the year forecasts. Now we'll move to the other side of the ball, the Luke Kuechly defensive player of the year, and we should mention as we go into the Luke Kuechly defensive player of the year that the longevity of the virtual tailgate has now basically transcended both or starting with Luke Kuechly's illustrious career at Boston College, at which we named the defensive player of the year award after, all the way to his Carolina Panther days, being drafted, for them retiring, waiting out his Hall of Fame waiting period, and just a little less than a month ago was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. So obviously we knew we had something when we saw Luke Kuechly and in his performance at Boston College. Congratulations to him in getting into the Hall of Fame. And congratulations to the virtual tailgate here on the longevity. But nevertheless, Jared, do you have another Luke Kuechly on your defensive player of the year, though?
I always do. I always pick the best players for these awards. They're going to be the greatest of all time. They always just shine, and they're second to none. Like if you don't follow what I pick, then it's on you for missing out on the success. My guy is from Louisville, Cleve Lubin. Um, Cleve Lubin, sorry, jeez Louise. The defensive end, he had a fantastic year last year. He was really disruptive on the D line. It caused a lot of headaches uh, for the running game, passing game as well. He was able to get pressure, stop the run. Just a very just a presence for that D line in Louisville, and I think that's going to continue this year to the point where it's going to get a lot more name recognition. He was really churning at the end of the year last year, and I think it's going to just continue. And it's a name to really keep an eye on.
All right, David, how about you?
I honestly, guys, as we honor Luke Kuechly with this award, there's really only one way or one set of factors to consider, and that is who's going to tackle the most people. That's the goal of every defense: bring down the opposition. And the obvious winner here is going to be Matt Rose, linebacker from Stanford. He is the top returning tackler in the league from a season ago. He tied for second in the league last year. He's also on a terrible team, so he's going to be on the field a lot. There'll be plenty of opportunities to tackle the opposition. And Matt Rose is the only player in the nation who can say that he is the reigning recipient of both the Jack Houston Award and the Frank Rem Award. So this is kind of an obvious one, probably easiest pick of the night. Matt Rose, Stanford linebacker, Luke Kuechly, Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, so I'm going with a slightly different approach for mine. I'm following a little bit of the being on the field more often. Is that I've got Cam Robinson returning, a defensive player from UVA, really an all around defensive player. Isn't going to put up the tackling numbers that somebody like Matt Rose is putting up, but he's really putting up an all around performance. He's in the backfield getting sacks, tackles for loss, putting up putting up just tackles in general, interceptions, TDs, fumble recovery. So really, an all-around defensive player. On top of that, and we can get into this a little bit later, I think there's a reason to believe that he might be seeing more time on the field this year, because that Cavalier offense may be at least having some growing pains, at least early on in the season, due to the turnover that they had during the offseason. But we can get to that a little bit later. But I'm going with Cam Robinson, a little bit of a homer pick, a little bit of an outlier pick, but an all-around player that could squeak in, getting recognized for an all-around skill set, and maybe not just what shows up on the stat sheet. But Andrew, let's head to a team that I think is we're maybe more familiar with some of
Yeah.
these defensive performances.
I am here to represent the traditional arm of the podcast with the Defensive Player of the Year. I picked the best defensive player on Clemson, Will Height, because he is the best defensive player on a team that is still coached by the same Dabo Swinney, who knows how to coach a defense no matter what the outcomes may be otherwise.
That's a dang gum. That's the dang gum dumbest thing I've ever heard.
This?
It's the dadgummest thing.
That's it. Thank you.
Oh. Oh.
All right, well, Andrew, why don't you so with your defensive player of the year, why don't you lead us into our dark horse category here, teams that we think maybe are not being given the respect they should going into the regular season.
I'm here to represent the not traditional understanding of dark horse on this podcast. Clemson is a team that traditionally wins double-digit games every year. Last year, they went 7-6. This year, they have, they have a rough start. They have to go face LSU to start the season. Hopefully, Dabo's telling the team to look past that game in a different way than we usually talk about teams looking past, which is like we can still have a good season. But beyond that, yes, they have to play Miami. They do get Miami at home. They have a couple of other upstarts that may be difficult games for them in North Carolina and Virginia Tech, but they do not have to face the gauntlet that we've talked about. Some other teams that might have to face them and Miami and SMU all in the same season. So I do think they have a little bit of a lighter potential schedule. I think they have a chance to bounce back and surprise some people, especially if they put together a good enough team to pop Miami in the mouth. Never mind if they got a chance to pop LSU in the mouth. They could definitely be surprisingly back in the driver's seat very easily with the type of schedule that they have this season, which is just like the weirdness of the ACC overall.
Andrew, I'm going to say to you what I said to Jared earlier. Words have meaning. Are you seriously telling me that you just picked the program, the coach with 2 national championships, the guy who is the author of every single quote ever used on the Virtual Tailgate in its history as the dark horse team of the league, the team that is nationally ranked, that's in the news more than anybody else outside the SEC?
There's a bunch of nobodies.
The answer, so, some of us took the question seriously. That includes me. And the answer to this question, the dark horse program of the year are the North Carolina State Wolfpack. And I'll tell you why. Do you guys know that Dave Doeren is like the 4th longest tenured coach in the country at this point? His tenure is also shorter than the reign of the Virtual Tailgate, which tells you a lot. But Doeren's been there for a long time. He's survived a lot of scares. North Carolina State, in this age of the transfer portal, it is rare to have a returning quarterback that you can put the ball in his hands and really trust that he's going to do good things. The Wolfpack have that. CJ Bailey is the real deal. Wolfpack stands to take a step forward, and I think they're going to be the dark horse team of the year. They're knocking on the door of a top 5 spot in our power rankings.
Yeah, so Jeff, I guess we're on an island here, but we're both in agreement. We think Cal can really make some noise this year. I mean, I was talking about JKS. Have you looked at Cal's schedule? If their new coach, who supposedly is going to be like the next great thing, according to Oregon's head coach Dan Lanning, who let Tosh LaPoy go back to his alma mater to coach the Cal football team. They play here. I'm going to read it off right now. UCLA, week 1. That's probably a win if you're at least a competent team. Week 2, I can't find the freaking schedule. Oh my god!
Syracuse.
That's a win. Week 3, Wagner win. Clemson. Now we're talking, but that's at Cal. That's a toss-up. At UNLV, probably a win. Virginia Tech, probably a win or a toss-up. It's at Cal. Wake Forest at
You're going
Cal.
through the whole scale. What are we doing here?
I'm just saying this. Their schedule is cupcake material. They can easily get 10 wins with this team. This is a team that has a really solid chance of going to the ACC title game this year. I really do think Cal is a team you've got to watch out for. I never thought I would be saying that for Cal football, especially in the ACC, but Cal football is a team to watch out for in the ACC title game. Are they the best
I
team
have a
going?
question.
No. But are they a team that can make it like Duke made it? Absolutely.
I have a question. Is it a requirement that college football teams full of college students who are supposed to go to class have to go back to their home location after every football game?
No.
Okay. 'Cause like, I'll give Jared a little more credence if they actually take the plane from Berkeley to SMU and then immediately fly to North Carolina and stay there
You're
until after
saying,
they play
man.
Virginia, then then maybe, maybe. But if they have to do 3 weeks of cross-country flights, they're gonna lose to Virginia by 50.
Well,
Listen,
from
they're
your
not.
lips to
But
God's ears.
they're not. They're not. They got a bye week. They have a 17th, the 24th bye week. Then they fly again. So yes, back to
Okay,
back
only
flying.
by
That's
25
rough.
then.
But they get a week to recover, and then they do it one more time.
Jared, I have a question for you and all that incoherent nonsense you just spat out. Do you really believe that Dan Lanning could have just stopped him from going to take the head coaching job in a power conference?
Well, contractually, it said no, but there were supposedly rumors that Dan Lanning was like, "Well, if you just make a lateral move, we'll block it," which understandably so. But we are getting a
Not a
promotion.
lateral move when you go to become a head coach,
Well,
dude.
yeah. I mean, but Dan didn't want to like watch him walk out the door. I mean,
Man,
Jeff, can you make a better argument for why Cal is gonna win?
can't make a worse one.
oh God forbid I use the schedule in front of us and like, well, this team is pretty much
Jared,
ass.
they have
That should
3
be a
road
win.
games in a
Well,
row
this is
on at least 2 time zones away from their time zone. They're gonna get smoked. You're just relying on old school
Which,
no-win
all right, so
November
they have,
for
all
Virginia.
right, I'm seeing
Listen to Andrew.
two
He almost
games.
picked Miami as his
There's
dark
only
horse.
2 games on the East Coast for Cal this year. 2 games uh, that are back to back. There's a third game, Syracuse. They can make one travel over. That's tough. I get it, but it's in a dome in a controlled environment. You can plan around that. Yes, the NC State and Virginia games are back to back East Coast with a bye week built
Jeff,
into that.
save
The-
us.
Alright, okay. I mean, let me try to bring it back in here. First, Syracuse is more like going north to Canada than going east, so, like, that one's kinda taken out of the equation. Um, but back to David's point about quarterback continuity, and he was talking about NC State as his dark horse. Cal's bringing quarterback continuity as well, JKS, as we will refer to him as, until Andrew helps us with the phonetics of how to pronounce it, just like he does with all the quarterbacks that have exotic last names or exotic names.
He's exotic, all right.
Had a surprising season over at Cal. We talked about them losing their running back to SMU, but if you look at the transfer portal, this is a Cal team was surprisingly played fairly well at parts of the season on defense. Brought in a lot of good players through the transfer portal, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think that defense is going to be good. Jared, you're talking about going east. You're talking about going east. Or Andrew, defense travels. I think this Cal defense is going to be better. They brought in some pieces to replace Kendrick, who went to SMU. I think that there's a lot of pieces for them to take a step forward. Might be a bit premature to put them in a top tier conversation, but I think they can make some noise in the ACC.
Jared, where was this when you were making your argument? It was sensible, it was logical, it was compelling. You know what? I'm switching. I will take Cal. Jared now has NC State.
Oh my God!
You got the Wolfpack.
And 7 to
We're
5.
moving
Here
along.
we
Dark
come.
horse.
I really want to crap on Duke.
Yeah, come on. It's all right. So let's so now we're on to the that was our dark horse. So we've dark horse teams that we could think could take a step forward or weren't being talked about enough. Now it's times for the teams that we think could take a dookie, so to speak, and take a step back from where they played this where they played last season. So I don't know. Should I start with Jared, guys? Yeah, we'll do. Should start with Jared. Let him defend
I don't
his
even think you should
nonsense.
go to Jared
Let
on
him
this one.
go.
All right.
Here. All right, slap nuts. Listen. Let's talk about UVA football last year. Now, yes, they've had a fantastic season, record-breaking, double-digit wins, 10 wins, ACC title game, only to crap the bed against the aforementioned
How'd they
Duke.
finish the regular season? Do you remember?
Yes, they beat Virginia Tech. Congratulations. A lot
Did
of
you-
teams did that
Did
year.
they? Did
You're
they just
not the
beat
only
them?
one that did. Just an FYI. All right. When 8 other teams beat Virginia Tech last year. Nothing special about that. Let's go
It's
through
pretty
the week.
special.
Let's go through the weeks of September 25th.
Oh, good. We got another schedule update. Here we
All right,
go.
hold on. Let me go take a bathroom break, and I'll come back in a little.
Let's go from September 26th to October 25th
Oh
of
God.
last year. Do you guys remember those games? I do. Because I couldn't believe the shit that UVA was getting away with in each of those games. And those 4 games of those weeks, 3 of them went to overtime. And one of them was
How
against a
dare a
very
good team win games in overtime?
and there
Called
one of them was
strategy. Look it up, honey.
listen, and one of them was a 2-point win over a very bad Washington State team. Which,
Look,
if
if
I remember
answer that is would they have been ties? Yes. Yes, they would have.
yeah, let's
But
just say,
overtime still exists.
listen, you guys won coin flips 4 times in a row. Statistically, that's just not going to happen
Did
again.
you see the games UVA lost to NC State, Wake Forest, and Duke in the ACC championship? They were all coin toss games also.
Yes, and you told me good teams don't lose those games, right? So here
I
we
never
are.
told you that. No.
So my point is, the median it's going to return back to we're going to revert back to the normal.
They were 4-3 in toss-up games. That is the median.
That is not the median. This team is. What improvements has UVA made in the transfer portal? What improvements has UVA made?
If you'd
Wow,
been on
that's a name
earlier,
that's
you
going to
would
stick
know that
out.
they're the most experienced team in the
Oh well,
NCAA.
thank the Lord for that. Stop the
Right.
season. Just get the title to UVA. Don't even play. They're the most experienced team in the conference. Hey, job well done, guys.
Let's
Enjoy
talk
your
about the
summer.
team that's actually gonna slide back.
let's let's let Jared go do whatever the heck he needs to do to get his head out of his you know what. And talk about the other team from the ACC championship game, the one that lost its quarterback and top 2 receivers to the transfer portal this year, among other things. From us taking a step back, David, you wanna lead us into that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unfortunate because they really are a victim of the NIL and transfer portal era. But I think the Duke Blue Devils are almost certain to take a big step back. These guys won the ACC a year ago, shocked the world, surprised everybody. Darian Mensah was a real deal. Darian Mensah, if you all remember, before last season, it was a big deal, big news that he had signed a 2-year contract with Duke. Like this was the wave of the future. Turns out that wasn't worth the paper it was printed on. And I mean, it's a huge loss for the Blue Devils. They lost so much talent. Their head coach is, target number one for every open position out there. I think it's gonna be a rough, long year in Durham.
Ditto.
Yeah. I, I think, I do anticipate, though, that Duke has, that November 14th game against Miami circled in red on their calendar.
Ooh,
Um,
I hadn't even thought about
The
that.
days are gonna die.
hey, or we can because it's only August now and we don't know how things are gonna be, we can pretend like Notre Dame slaps the crap out of Miami and actually beats them so bad they beat them twice, and Duke is the lucky recipient of that second, victory over them.
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna have fun, like, just have fun.
I don't think Duke's gonna have fun that day.
I don't either, but hey, remember what we thought of of Miami up until last year with the roller coaster that Miami always seemed to go on, in the power rankings every year.
I thought very highly of them. I picked them to be my their officially back team 12 years in a row.
Yes, I know. Uh,
Oh, all right. Well, this is why they play the game, right? This all comes down to offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, dark horse taking a step back. But all, at the end of the day, on December whatever day it is in Charlotte, it all comes down to the championship game, right? And the top two teams playing, duking it out for the rights to go to the college football playoff, get one of those seeds in the college football playoff bracket. And so the ultimate question is, who is going to end up um, in that game, and who is going to end up winning it? So each of us will go through. Andrew, you want to lead us off with who you have, and actually who several of us have as
yeah,
the last two standing when all is said and done.
kind of the standard choice of SMU and Miami. Um, I've got Miami coming out on top, in this one for reasons that make me feel terrible. Like, I wanna say SMU and Miami are gonna play this game and somehow, like, NC State's gonna win it, just because I feel so, like, weird picking Miami to actually be good. But that's what we're gonna go with there. Um, Jeff seems to agree with me. David seems to have a little bit of um, niggling dissent on the victor of the game. Jeff, why am I right? And David, why am I wrong about how the game's gonna come out?
Well, I mean, I can say like what kind of was my point for Miami in this case is it's really hard with these games and these teams when there's so much turnover in the transfer portal to keep track of who's where and who's coming in and who's leaving. But if you look at what Miami did, I mean, not only were they a team that maybe um a team that um, still had room to grow last year. But if you look at what they did, you think of it's almost like an off season for an NFL team now, the way that this transfer portal works. And you look at what got brought into that team. I mean, holy cow! Like that roster is so loaded right now that it would feel like an extreme disappointment for this Miami team to not finally get over the hump, get that ACC championship that they were brought in from the Big East all those years ago to hoist. And of course, logically, they would win that ACC trophy over a team that is home based in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the obvious pick in this thing. Miami is going to be the overwhelming favorite heading into the season, most likely team to run the table, run it back to the playoff, make another run at a national title, all the things. But I do think SMU is a hot pick as that kind of number two team in the league. I think we'll see in a little bit. They're probably our number two power rankings team here on the virtual tailgate. Um, I I think both of these teams stand to have a very, very good regular season, head toward this showdown. And I don't know. It feels like a toss up to me. Miami would probably be the favorite in a game like that. But I really like Rhett Lashley. I like what he does with that SMU offense. And I think despite Miami's great postseason run a year ago, I would remind everyone that they were one UVA choke job away from not even being in that playoff to make that run to the national title game. I never underestimate Mario Cristobal's ability to choke in a big game, and so I think it's entirely possible SMU gets there and they get the win.
So we've done the first three. Jared, I just I have to ask, like, are you okay? Are you doing drugs? Like, I need I need to know, like,
Are you high?
yeah, are you high? Like, is there a typo in here? Like,
So listen, what is the ACC known for? It's known for chaos. It's known for not being normal. I mean, for the God's sakes, we saw Duke, who was because of a fifth tiebreaker, I think, qualify for the championship game over SMU and so many other more deserving teams, and then saying well, at least UVA will have a cakewalk in the championship game, only to get their ass beating by Duke. So, with that being said, there's new rules and all this crap. We were talking about Cal, how Cal's that dark horse team. So screw it. Why not? Cal makes the championship game. So who do they play? That's a good question. The team that's been always disruptive lately in the ACC has just been very close to breaking through that ice, just breaking through that ceiling is Georgia Tech. Now, I understand that Brinky's got a whole new crew down there. It's pretty much like a borderline roster reset. But there's been many times recently in college football where roster resets have been a good thing. Sometimes that makes you exceed your expectations. You do know who the quarterback is down at Georgia Tech right now. This kid named Mendoza. Now, of course, his brother is with the Las Vegas professional football team. But Alberto Mendoza, the backup at Indiana, transferred over to Georgia Tech. He had some good garbage time numbers, so we'll see if that translates down in Atlanta.
With the new
Also,
rules, we don't know for sure that Fernando won't be suiting up for the Yellow Jackets.
oh, there you go. I mean, those NIL things are just crazy. Also, Justice Haynes, the running back, transferred from Michigan, has some injury issues, but has all the potential. If these two can click, there's potential for Georgia Tech to really be that surprising team. Georgia Tech has been so close to being that team we've all said, there's the Yellow Jackets. That's the team that's just causing hell and back and just what no one wants to deal with. They almost beat Georgia down in Athens. I mean, they gave them everything they could handle, and they were holding on for dear life at the end. And that's the best team they faced all last year. The ACC compared to Georgia is a cakewalk, in all honesty. If Brent Key can go ahead and just get this team to meld. It may be a little rough at first, but that's usually your easier side of the schedule. If they can win those ACC games, I think a Cal Georgia Tech game, although yes, it is just something that's just statistically not even be possible, is something I think would be very interesting to watch for us ACC diehard fans, but for pretty much the general national audience. Uh,
I hate to admit this, Jared, but you just made a lot of sense. Matter of fact, I'm going to change my pick. I will take Cal versus Georgia Tech. Give Jared SMU Miami as the third pick.
I don't want it.
It's yours, buddy. You can have it.
I don't want it.
You got SMU as the winner. Don't worry.
I think, Jared, I think that your whole idea makes perfect sense in the world of the ACC last year, but I'm pretty sure that I read the tiebreaker setup that they've put together for the new ACC championship, and it said step 1 records, step 2 the commissioner will make sure that the right game happens.
Step
Because
3, the team selected must play in Coral Gables.
yeah, I like the thing where they're like, we're going to use a special math formula that we're not telling anyone about. Okay, sure.
Actually, I read that it's already been predetermined. The ACC championship game this year will just be a rematch of Miami versus Notre Dame.
Oh, well, Jared, why don't you tell us about the rankings of power there?
I guess I can. So we have the top 5, bottom 3. Just like last year, folks, nothing changed. Everything great because why change anything that's perfect? Top 5. Here we go. Number 1, we got Miami. 2, SMU. 3, Clemson. 4, Louisville. 5, UVA. Really not much else to say. We've already kind of touched on those teams in the early part of the podcast. Bottom 3, though, we could talk about a little bit if you want to. Number 15. Boston College Eagles up at Chestnut Hill. Bill O'Brien, you're in for a season if you make it that long. Number 16, Syracuse. Remember they had that magic a couple years ago where they were looking like a really good football team. They were ranked, they were beating teams, and things were looking promising. Yeah, it's not looking so great right now. And number 17, Stanford. Yes, the Cardinal over there on the West Coast there. Cal looking like the team that's could cause some issues in the ACC while Andrew Luck has got his hands full trying to rebuild that program from the ground up. Honestly, it is. Well, I mean, they got their educational and all that education crap in the Olympic sports, which is nice, but their money making one in football is it leaves a lot to be desired from the David Shaw days, to say the least. The David Shaw heydays, because he had a bit of a rough landing there at the end.
All right. Well, guess that means it's time to talk about the transfers, although we've kind of hit on them, some of them already. Uh, just to talk about players who are in the top 50 across all of the NCAA. I saw last year, I believe it was a little bit of work to find an article that was about the top 50. Now I'm just finding top 100. I didn't want to subject you guys to talking about the number 76 player across the country, though. Um, will probably not surprise you to find that three of the players, we've got six total from the ACC in the top 50. Three of those are with Miami, aside from Mensah that we've already talked about a fair bit. We've got Damon Wilson, the second linebacker from Missouri, and we've got Omar Thornton, a safety from Boston College, who will be going out to Miami. Wilson is the number 7 transfer. Thornton is the number 37. Justice Haynes, we already talked about a little bit, coming from Michigan. He's a running back going to Georgia Tech, number 23 on the list. And then we've got a running back from Washington headed to Cal, Adam Muhammad, at number 33. Trey Richardson rounds out the top 50 for the ACC. He's going to Louisville as a wide receiver from Vanderbilt. Uh, Unsurprisingly, when we look at the top classes of the ACC in relationship to all the rest of the schools out there, Miami had the number 5 best transfer class. Virginia Tech, without being on this list with any individual standouts, still came in at number 15, having a lot of good day players who have transferred over following the new coach. And then, of course, Louisville and Cal at 17 and 19. Guys, we'll just do a quick around the horn. What stands out the most to you about this, aside from the fact that this is a small list, given how many teams and players probably did the transfer dance this year?
Well, you gotta give Miami credit. They got 2 of the top names there on their team. It just at the end of the day doesn't translate to wins, and more importantly, doesn't translate to wins for the ACC title. Um, for a possible repeat at the championship game down the road. I mean, Darian looked great at Duke, but Miami's going to be a different animal. I mean, do we really know how he's like translated down there in terms of like the climate and such, and and including the humidity? I mean, yeah, North Carolina humidity is not nothing to joke about, but that Miami humidity can really wreak havoc even a little later in the season compared to what North Carolina experiences around
Talking about
October.
the guy that started out his career at Tulane in the city of New Orleans.
Yes, and he played indoors. So guess what? 0 issue. So, you know, that sup that Vince Mercedes
I just hope he
Superdome.
can survive South Beach.
I mean, there's gonna be some other distractions down at South Beach outside of just the climate. There's gonna be the other outside of conditions. There's gonna be the climate, if you know what I mean.
No,
Jeff,
I
I
don't.
think you should tell us your takeaway from this.
Yeah, just move us along.
I,
I I mean, so this was the top 20. This was or the top 50 transfers that were transferring into ACC
Yeah.
schools. Is that right? And this is like
Yep.
with all of like 7 of them or something. I mean, I think it's interesting, and I actually don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see like where they were coming from and to for the remainder of the list, which is probably up there if I'd had a chance to look at it. But it does feel um a little bit like it's kind of like a talent drain from the ACC. I mean, if you only got 7 of the top 50 that are in play within your own conference, I mean, where the rest of them going? I mean, they have to be going to Big Ten schools, SEC schools, continuing to concentrate continuing to concentrate the power in those 2 conferences that just continue to kinda add to their influence in college football, and I think we kinda touched on it a little bit, but because we've kinda, sort of grown to love them as the lovable underdog with the head coaches, but I mean, I think it really speaks a lot to really what happened to Duke over the off season. I mean, they're kind of a one that's easy for us to talk about because we follow the ACC football, we follow Duke, but it kind of lends itself back to like I go back to when we thought that Darian Mensah signing this 2-year contract, and I don't know or 2-year NIL deal. I don't know the backstory on what happened after that, but it feels like there has to be a point at which somehow it can't be free agency every single offseason for these guys, and I think it's really taken a lot away from the game. I mean, I want players to be able to make their best choices, but for themselves. But it also is, I think it's hurting the game, and it's something that they haven't found a solution for yet. But the cat's out of the bag, and it's not going back.
So what stands out to me in this list is not who's there, though all that's striking, as you guys have said. It's who's not there, and it's the fact that Clemson still in 2026 is not playing the transfer portal game in a way that's competitive. And they're still recruiting great high school talent. They're still developing talent really well, but you cannot win at an elite level without being committed to the transfer portal. I know that they are taking in more transfers now, but clearly not at the level that other programs are. And I think that's going to continue to be an Achilles heel for Dabo Swinney, probably for the rest of his time at Clemson.
Yeah. I'd say that's what stands out to me. I think, like the other big thing that I pointed out a little bit is that there are no like there are no singular standout players for Virginia Tech, but just that they put together an overall roster that raises them into that top 15. Does speak highly of their change in leadership, and I think is probably going to be a thing that bears out well for them going forward. All right, David, over to
All right,
you.
boys. Believe it or not, after this very long wind up, it is time to talk about football. We've got 2 games coming up here in week 0. I'm going to switch the order that we talk about them in. We're going to start out with a game that we have some consensus in. Tar Heels going on there. Is this a true road game for the Tar Heels? They're playing this in Fort Worth at the Horned Frog Stadium down there, or is this one of those neutral site actions? Do
Isn't
we know
this
that?
this is the Aer Lingus College Football Classic.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
this
doesn't
is
mean
over. Yeah.
anything to me.
Well, it's over in Ireland, right?
Okay, all right. The
Yeah.
luck of the Irish.
Yeah.
Listen, man, if Bill Belichick doesn't look a little like a leprechaun, I'll tell you right now.
Oh man, if we ever needed AI for this show right now, I mean,
All
uh,
right. So Tar Heels open as 6.5 point underdogs in this one. Looks like all of us are laying the points, taking TCU. I know that none of you know anything about TCU football, so this is entirely an indictment of the Tar Heels program.
As well it
What
should be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to
yeah.
fight you. I'm in this boat with you. What does North Carolina have to do in this game and going forward to prove that something's different this year? I think Andrew told us earlier that North Carolina is one of the programs in the country with the most turnovers. 40 new players on the roster. It should be a new team. what do you need to see to start believing that Coach Belichick's going to turn this thing around?
They gotta play 60 minutes. I know that's such a weird thing to say with Belichick, but I swear they did not play a complete game last year. Like, even in their wins, they looked like crap. Like, do you all remember how they started last year in their first game? They scored like 14. They went right down the field, touchdown, bam, defense, 3 and out. Like, oh my God, the Belichick, it's going to be a cakewalk for, North Carolina, how they're beating TCU. And then TCU in Chapel Hill just beat the living piss out of them for like 10 minutes left in the first quarter through the rest of the game. Wasn't even close. It's just, we got to see if the players are actually beyond the whole aspect of like, I'm playing for an NFL legend to like, I have to actually play decent football. And I think at this point, we're going to see if Belichick can actually get these type of kids to actually understand that they got to play the basic fundamentals of football, or if they're even capable of doing it. And just understand Belichick is even recruiting the proper talent that's needed to be at least somewhat decent in the ACC. And again, many people say like Belichick found the one player in Brady and found a few other key parts, but you got to build a whole team. And that's one of the things that people said was Belichick's downfall at Patriots. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that comes out. But I am not holding my breath for like a surprise season from the Tar Heels.
Yeah, I think that for me, I think for me, what stands out is that they so there's a lot to be made about, you know, the the offense, right? And bringing in they brought in Bobby Petrino, right? Like the old neck brace. Like, isn't he the O coordinator now? Is that
He's there. He is. He's
yeah? So
ready to step in at a moment's notice.
yeah, so he's revving up his motorcycle to to ride up and down the streets there. But I think the biggest thing for me is that defense was just putrid. I mean, so to me, like especially when you're talking about um, going over to a neutral site game overseas, everybody's just travel is going to be screwed up for that entire thing. So it's going to be rough on both teams, but a UNC defense that was a sieve last year, and TCU, which granted is bringing in a new quarterback, starting a new quarterback this year. They don't have Hoover at quarterback anymore, but that's a TCU team that puts up some points, and I think that's the reason. Those are the reasons that I have, that I'm taking the TCU minus the 6.5. Is I just don't know what to trust on UNC's defense, and TCU. I mean, call it what it is. I mean, they put up points. They seem to put up points when they get on the field. So I think that they put up some points in this game.
Yeah, it's hard because, like, you say, "What do they need to do?" Like, that question seems to imply underneath it, other than win. Like, they need to win games, and that's just kinda what it comes down to. They need to look like any of the gosh, like, sometimes I might say even the worst looking versions of the, Larry Fedora or Mac Brown, era teams that at least could, you know, come close to or get themselves to a bowl game. And that's kind of like I think if, in the realm of Belichick legacy at North Carolina, we're just kinda going with get to a bowl game, win a bowl game, then see if you can do anything else. But, like, he has almost no cachet right now, with the, um within college football at all, and I think that the fact that things went so poorly last year means that he's just gonna continue to get bagged on until the team really, really does show that it can do something worthwhile.
Bill needs the team to not be so boring. I mean, at least, the end of the Mac Brown era was embarrassing, but at least they scored some points, right? Like, they're losing games 60-40. Tar Heels last year are losing games 28-10, and that's a and I think the fact that they lacked any, kinda charisma on the field meant that all the attention was on Bill and his personal life, and that was not pretty. All right. Let's go over to the other big time week 0 contest in the ACC. This is a conference matchup this time around. It is not being played in South America after all. It's the North Carolina Wolf State, North Carolina Wolf Pack, North Carolina State Wolf Pack traveling to Charlottesville to take on the Wahoos. This is a 3-point spread, basically a pick 'em with the home field advantage going to Virginia. So the Hoos are favored by 3 in this one. We are split right down the middle. The brothers Van Gelder really like the Wolfpack. As you heard earlier, Jared has the Wolfpack as his dark horse team. So it makes
No, I don't.
tell us about why do you think the Wolfpack get the win in Charlottesville?
I guess at the end of the day, I have more confidence that Dave Doeren not crapping his pants in week 0 compared to Tony Elliott. And his players will find a way, and Dave Doeren will get his players to find a way to win by 3 or something. I don't know. I think these are kind of 2 evenly matched teams. I think it's a legit toss up. I'm kind of surprised it's 6 in the hook. Was it 3 in the hook or 6 in the hook?
It can't.
No.
This one was flat 3
Flat 3. So
when
yeah,
it opened. When it opened,
okay. So when it opened, and Vegas saw the same thing, they're like, well, it's a toss up game. So I think I just yeah, I don't know. Dave Doran's got more experience, so he'll find a way to not crap his pants as much as Tony Elliott.
yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think in this game, maybe to help expand or to divert from talking about which coach is more likely to crap himself. Um, in this
I
game,
mean,
I
did they
think
have some of that
so.
Taylor Farms lettuce? I mean, that's
So, well, I mean, there is an ongoing issue in the country. Maybe it's maybe it'll make them wish that they had played the game in Brazil. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's actually safer to eat the food down in Brazil at this point. But to me, what worries me is David. You kind of hit on it a little bit earlier. Is the return of C.J. Bailey, NC State, early in the season. Who knows what to make? These two teams are just they basically been prepping all off season in the last several weeks. This is outside of maybe a bowl game. Your first game of your season is kind of like the game you have the most time to get ready for, right? I mean, you're kind of getting ready for the whole season, but you also only have that game in front of you as well. But I am just nervous, as most of the times like you would be, is with the exit of Chandler Morris from the Virginia Cavaliers at quarterback. I'm nervous. I haven't followed it too closely, but replacing Chandler Morris with I'm not sure that Bo Priblett or Bo Prabula, who is the I believe is the announced starting quarterback, is necessarily the spark that offense needs. I guess we'll see when they get on the field, but I think that's a lot to ask of him going into this first game with a new system, going up against a dynamic NC State CJ Bailey led offense that I think will put up some points. So I just have just a smidge more confidence in the state of the NC State Wolfpack going into this game than I do the Cavaliers until we see otherwise.
Andrew, please tell these guys why they're wrong.
I mean, this one was one of those easy just numbers picks. Game opened at -3. All the betting has been such to pull it out to a 5.5 now spread. So like shoot, just on that, I'm taking Virginia with the smaller spread that's already there. I do think that the fact that this game went away from being a neutral site, mess with you, travel, everything game to a home game for Virginia just bumps up the uh, my confidence in the team. Uh, Tony Elliott has looks like he's becoming one of the coaches that understands how to work in the new world. of just like we're going to reload with people from elsewhere. I think before we got started, I asked the guys if Virginia was just going to become a school of juniors and seniors going forward, and it certainly seems like the way that we're running with the money right now. And I think that means that you ought to be able to win these early season games. Yeah, guys are coming from different schemes and things like that, but you're just more likely to be, especially in the non-skill positions, bringing in guys who've spent time in the weight room beforehand, who have figured out, what they need to do to be successful at the higher levels. And I do think a lot of times, especially in early games, in years past, some of Virginia's biggest problems were like, oh, we happened to graduate in our entire line and we picked up a bunch of, you know, people who weigh less than I do to play the the front line to start out. So I do think there's I have the confidence that maybe we figured something out to begin with. I have the nagging fear that we've got yet a new quarterback to figure things out with, and the fact that NC State is always a tough game no matter when or where it's being played. But yeah,
Well,
hopefully that's at least close. I'm more confident than you, David. I put $200 on this spread. Uh,
wow, all right.
yeah,
Well, I think, I mean, you're definitely right that UVA has brought in some good talent in the portal, but I think just as much that experience that they're returning, some of that is actual returning experience too. So they've got two All ACC offensive linemen coming back this year. This is a program that really actually has developed some talent as well. Tony Elliott, it definitely was a long on ramp for him in Charlottesville for a variety of reasons. But he did pull it together. He won Coach of the Year a season ago. Um, for me, this game really is a pick 'em. You can see it going either way. Same thing as last year. So the game in Raleigh last year, the non-conference game between Virginia and NC State ended on the very last play of the game. It was kind of a toss up all the way through. I would see this game the same way. And I think it's about home field advantage. So this will be the most excited the Virginia fan base has been coming into a season in a very long time. There's a lot of energy around the program, a lot of high expectations, and I think that leads to the kind of atmosphere that in a pick'em game and a toss up can make the difference. And so I think Virginia wins this thing by a touchdown, even if it comes down to kind of some late game heroics.
and if we do win this game, the Virginia scheduling people are going to push for a ACC start or a big game start to the season at home going forward a lot more because like you're absolutely right about the enthusiasm where the fans will be with the team, and then whenever you meet that enthusiasm with like the 20th time that we're going to play William and Mary or or U of R or something like that, it really does just suck the life out of the room having an actual team to go up against, as long as we don't like lose by 20, is a really good look.
I can't wait for to get on the show next week and have Jared tell us how it was lucky that UVA got the win.
Well, it's not gonna be a hook when NC State wins. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You'll probably tell me like, well, if those refs were not such Carolina refs, UVA
Well,
would have won by 30.
all right.
At 37.
It's time to
Oh my god.
it's time to slide into quickfire bets. We only got two other games. I put you guys bets in there. Just tell me one that you're the most confident in. Jared, which one of those other bets do you like the most?
New Mexico State and Florida State play each other. Florida State will win, I will promise you that. But will they win by 36 in the hook, which is what the bet opened at? I don't think so. Take
It's
those
only
Aggies.
20. It was only 28 in the hook, but okay.
Oh, either way, still take those points, baby.
Jeff,
Yeah, I don't feel great about either one of these, but yeah, big spread. So I've got New Mexico State, just like Jared.
David.
Yeah, I took New Mexico
David,
State.
holy crap.
Which one are you more comfortable in, David?
I took New Mexico State on the money line. I'm not comfortable with it, but it will make me a lot of money if it can hit. It'd be great.
Uh,
I am more confident in Stanford. I'm surprised that the three of you bozos think that Hawaii is going to win. I know that Stanford's fallen on some hard times. I know there's a lot of transition in the program. They're still better than Hawaii. They're going to get the win on the road.
I don't know about that, but yeah, each their own.
It's a home game for Stanford this time.
Even better, they're gonna win.
I'm gonna
Put another $100 on
You
there.
know what, David? You're exactly right. That
Thank
if New Mexico State wins the game on the money line, it will make a lot of money. And I'm probably not betting as much as you because I put all my chips on Virginia, but I am absolutely switching to New Mexico State
Oh,
over Florida
come
State.
on.
It's okay. You're still gonna get
I
double the
play
money.
this under protest.
You're gonna get double. It'll be
Denied.
it'll be fine. Look, the thing is, you just reminded me. It's because you stated it. You could have just gone with the Stanford one, and I wouldn't have thought
You know
anything of
what?
it.
I take back what I said. I only say the Stanford thing.
You know what? But you know what you reminded me? I set myself up for success at the beginning of last year betting against Florida State, and there's no reason for me to stop now.
Pretty safe bet, really, to see the Seminoles come up short.
Well, that is it for the virtual tailgate. You can send your questions or comments to virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
And always remember these 3 rules: never get less than 12 hours sleep.
Never play with cards with a guy who has the same first name as the city.
And never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body.
Stick to that. And the score for now is 37-0.
Don't be bougie.
It's a ball game.